Hello, I am the Manchurian General, and today we're going to talk about the. Actually, I have a question. What armors are best to use in climates akin to, the Middle East, that sort of climate? Now, let's start with what armors to not use in areas like that. Full plate armor. You don't want to use full plate armor. Reason being, well, think of it like this. Just imagine on a normal summer day, you take out a piece of metal, like a pan. If you take like a cast iron pan, something metal, you just walk outside, set it down, and let it sit for like a few minutes, and you go and touch it in the direct sunlight. It's gonna be very hot. Now imagine now take that and put it into full plate, and you're out there riding around or marching around in the sun, fighting in the sun in the Middle Eastern climate. You're gonna freaking burn. Well, no. Burn is a bit of an exaggeration, but you all are going to sweat. You're gonna be boiled inside your own armor. You're gonna be flambroiled. You're gonna be sweating your balls off. You're gonna die of heat exhaustion. It's gonna be that bad. You're gonna die of heat exhaustion. Heat stroke, that sort of thing. Little nasty bits. I had my own bout with like a heat involved thing when I went hiking last year. It's not fun. It's not fun. You're sweating. You're out of breath. You feel exhausted. You're marching around all in your full plate armor. You're gonna be hampered down, and you're just gonna be out of the fight. If you wear full plate armor, and if you fight in full plate armor in the desert or in Middle Eastern climates for a prolonged amount of time, your ass is gonna be grass. Except there's no grass. Well, it depends where you are in the Middle East, but never mind that. Now that we got the what armors to not wear part over and done with, let's move on to what armors would you be better off using in that sort of climate. Well, I have really four to five suggestions. One, you just go in with just a kaftan. Now, why is a kaftan? It's a padded sort of robe of Middle Eastern style. Now, I'm painting with very big strokes here. If you want to go into specifics, you do that. But in general, it's a padded robe of sorts. That's the first kind of armor you can wear. Because layers of fabric can be surprisingly protective. Because it's not just one singular layer or a thin little piece of clothing. No, it's layers on layers on layers on layers on layers. On layers. And you need a sharp sword, and I mean sharp sword. If you're using a sword, you can also just shoot at it. If you're on a horse with a lance, you can just, with enough force and speed, just bypass that whole thing and just thrust into them. But in general, thick clothing is a very good sort of armor against slashing cuts in that context. Now, and plus you won't be weighed down as much if you're wearing metal armor and all that jazz. So there's that advantage. Second sort of armor you should probably use is mail armor. Now, mail is a very useful sort of armor. It was invented long ago, into the BC era of time. So it was a real old invention. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about in the context of the Middle East. Now, the great thing about mail, as long as you're wearing the other part of the clothing, but the great thing about mail, that there's lots of holes. Now, that may be a bad thing in certain contexts, but in the context of where you're at, it's actually quite good because it provides ventilation. See, if you have just a rigid plate close fitted to you, a lot of heat can't really get out. All those rings, a sort of a very loose sort of armor. And loose is probably not a good word, but it's a very not flexible. That's what I mean. A very flexible sort of metal armor with all the holes, it'll be good for ventilation. All the heat will dissipate It'll go through the metal rings via the holes because of the nature of how mail is comprised. It'll go through them, and you won't be scorching hot. You won't be sweating your balls off. You won't be absolutely freaking dying of heat exhaustion when you were wearing full plate armor. If you wear a mail shirt, that's good. Mail armor is better than padded armor, but with both of them combined is good. Any armor is better than no armor. That is the law of warfare. My own headcanon of it. Armor is better than no armor. Better off with using something than nothing. Anyway, what's another sort of armor you can use? Lambor Armor. See, Lambor Armor is a personal favorite of mine. And from what we've seen, a lot of people used it in the East. Byzantines used it, Eastern Europe, Middle East, Central Asia, Eastern Asia, and some parts of the North in certain centuries, but we're not going to talk about them. But anyway, Lambor Armor is a very useful armor. Combine that with mail, combine that with padding armor, and you got a very rigid sort of defense. You got the Lamellar plates, which by the nature of their how they're comprised, provide a very strong defense. It's not just one plate you have to deal with. You have to deal with the plate right under it because it's an overlapping pattern. Because if you go for this plate, you gotta deal with the plate right here. You gotta deal with the plate that's overlapping the side of that plate. You have to deal with a lot when you have to go through Lambor Armor. There's a test. It's a couple of test videos by I forget their name, but they're this channel that deals with Chinese archery and stuff. Like they did a video on Lamellar and Brigandine. It's unrelated to the Middle East, but it relates to the Lamellar part. I will link one of their videos up in this corner, because I forget, this camera's mirrored up in that corner, and I would suggest that you watch it. It's a very informative video. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Lambor Armor is a very useful armor. A lot of people in the Middle East used it from, I would say, around the early centuries AD, all the way even as late as the 17th century. And much more easier to repair than plate armor. Full plate armor, it's easier to repair things that's comprised of many plates than thing that's comprised of very form-fitting sort of armor. Because if a breastplate is cracked, you have to replace the whole thing. If one of your Lamellar plates gets frickin' busted, you have to unlace a lot of the Lamellar and stick a new one. But at least it's better than replacing an entire breastplate. Is the point I'm trying to get here. One's more tolerable to repair than the other one, because one takes less resources, one takes more resources, more time, more energy than to repair and replace a single plate or just a couple of plates. Now, what is the last sort of thing? Actually, no, I got two more. One relates back to mail, the other one is its own sort of beast. We're going to start with the one that relates back to mail. Now, in this one, it's a sort of in-between. It's plated mail. Now, why is plated mail? Well, it's a very simple thing. Don't think of it as like a D&D thing. It's not full plate armor. It's mail with little plates connected via mail. There's another video, another video recommendation. There's a video by Wendy Page, who had a video. I say had. He still has it up. Good. It's good that he still has it up. It's about a Mogul sort of plated mail. Moguls being, actually no, that's a whole video and stuff. He explains it in the video. But yeah, plated mail, it comes in different sort of configurations of how it's made. It's an armor that's comprised of either many plates or some big plates, or in other cases, the back is lined with small metal plates, but all of them are connected via mail, and the plate parts are tied together with a lacing, because some of them open up at the front a bit. But yeah, now, what are the advantages of that? Well, it's added protection, because you have metal plates in it. Even though mail in itself is good, it's still vulnerable to certain forms of attack. Arrows, crossbows, and later gunfire from matchlocks and stuff. Thrust, like a very strong thrust from pole arms. You're not really gonna get through it with a sword unless the sword's like very pointed. But those are specialized weapons. The main threat you're gonna face on the battlefield is not a sword. It could be a threat, but the main threat is pole arms and range weapons. That is your main threat. You worry about these. You should worry more about these than some freaking bozo using a sword. But if you are fighting the bozo with a sword, you should worry. But anyway, back on topic to the other one I mentioned. Now, what is this one? The other plate armor thing. It goes by one of its names is called Chahar Ai-ne. I'm pretty sure it's an Arabic word. Windy Page also talked about it a bit, either in part 1 or 2 of his Mogul videos. But yeah, it's translated into 4 mirror armor. Now, it's a sort of armor that is comprised of 4 plates, and you wear it over mail or over the kaftan we mentioned earlier in the video. Well, I mentioned earlier in the video. It's the way you wear it is that you just put on the 4 plates. You attach it. You put it in the front. You match up. You form up the sides, and you attach the back plate. Attach it over to the front plate, and boom, there you go. I make it sound simple. But I don't know. I haven't known this one. I would like to own it. I would like to own a lot of armors, so I can expand my knowledge. Swords too, weapons, just weapons, swords. Now, what are the benefits to this sort of plate armor than the full plate armor? Well, to harken back to the point I made about mail, kinda, the 4 mirror armor does not encase your body in steel or iron or whatever the frick. Thus, you won't have the problem of overheating. You have the mail to ventilate all that heat out and lessen the uncomfortableness of fighting in the Middle Eastern sun. Because if you wear the full plate, like I said at the start of this video, you're gonna, given enough time, you will be soaking wet. You will be dying of heat exhaustion. There we go. With the 4 mirrors, combined with the mail, combined with the kaftan, and combined with whatever helmet that has mail on it, you're not going to really die of heat exhaustion unless you're dehydrated, but that's the only exception, really. Actually, we're running on the assumption that you are hydrated. I should probably specify. We're gonna run by the assumption that you are fighting and you are hydrated, which is very important, especially in climates like that. But yeah, it's 4 solid plates, so you're gonna get. So it's not just gonna bust on you. It's not gonna go through really, unless the quality of the material is not that good and the quality of the thing piercing it is very good. But that's its own different sort of thing. That's its own video on its own. But yeah, assuming the quality is very good or just decent enough, nothing's really gonna go through, maybe except like later 17th century firearms, but that's I'll say that's just a given of its time. Arrows are not really going to go through it. It'll probably dent it a good bit, but I don't know about going through it and hitting you in the flesh. You're going to be vulnerable to anti-armor weapons like maces and stuff, because those are designed to just bypass the armor. Not in terms of just straight on just breaking the armor, but through blunt impact force. Matter of fact, that applies to a lot of these armors. Mace and warhammers are designed to to just bypass it and break your freaking bones, break your legs, break your arms, fracture your skull, bust your nose, just do you in by the matter of just sheer might and blunt force trauma, which is a very effective way of putting someone down. You gotta love the logic. If you can't go through their armor with your frickin' spear, sword, and stuff, just bash them up. Just hit them enough times with a weapon designed to go to fight that, and just hit him enough times until he's knocked out or dead, whatever which comes first. But yeah, enough of that. But yeah, 4 mirror armor it will provide good enough protection. And the climate that you're in, the whole Middle Eastern climate, better than full plate by means of ventilation. So let's recap. What armors are good to use in the Middle Eastern sort of climate? Thick clothing, or at least thick enough clothing. Mail armor, plated mail armor, Lambor armor, 4-mirror armor. See, that's the 5. That's the 5 armors that are more useful, that are most optimal to use to fight in the desert or the Middle Eastern climate. What armors not to use? Full plate. Just don't use full plate armor. Don't use full plate armor in the desert. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. There we go. But yeah, this is the Manchurian General. Thank you for watching this far into the video. I'll have a video out next week, or maybe another video this week, depending on how fast I complete this art. But yeah, peace out. May God be with you. Goodbye.